Hey, a very good evening to you, and officially welcome to hashtag Live with Adriano Visagie. It's a brand new year. It's our first episode, our first edition, and I'm so excited because we get to feature award-winning actor. He's an MC, he's a radio personality, Mr. Armas Shivute, who will also be joining us just like live shortly. So I'm super excited just to be engaging with you. For you that doesn't know what this platform is about, we get to share a little light, and not, I want to say little, but just a lot of light on the thespian world, the actor space, that being theater, that being film, and of course just allowing for you to really appreciate the form of art when it comes to film, to theater, and of course what happens in the background. So everyone that plays a role when it comes to production, and we talk about film and theater. And that's why you found that this platform, hashtag Live with Adriano, has featured people that are always either in front of the camera, behind the camera, or on the paper. So that being your gaffer, I'm so excited because I mean, we're featuring, that is Armas Shivute, and he's going to be sharing his little journey with us that he's been on this earth, and also just all this amazing work that he has done as an individual. So please do get to share this video. I'm going to wave at you who's live already now. Share some love. Thank you so much. And yeah, if you want to be on this platform, if you have done theater or film work or production work, please always DM me, and I'm really excited to to also get you on the platform where we could really just engage when it comes to the production side of life. So to everyone that has also been inboxing me, the masterclass is definitely coming very soon, so stick around for that. I know some of you actors want to join the actors masterclass, so that will be coming soon. I'm just going to try and invite where we just get to chat. So yeah, share some love, ask questions. I'll also be answering all the questions that will be asked, and then of course those that have also been sent to us. Armas,
Yeah, my man.
how are you?
No, I can't complain. How are you doing, my brother?
Oh, good. I can't believe I only saw you last year. I saw you literally last year in Burkina Faso.
Time flies. Time flies.
Time flies indeed. Compliments for the new year.
No, man, thank you very much, and likewise, eh?
Yeah. Armas, I want to literally dive into it. You and I sat on a plane, and we were traveling in transit from Namibia to Ethiopia, and we got to share a little bit about your acting career, and I was really inspired. And boom, here you are winning the SOTIGUI award, being the third recipient from Namibia. A huge congratulations, first and foremost, before we get to continue.
Oh, thank you very much, man. Thank you very much,
Yeah,
man. And I really, first of all, owe it to you yourself and
yeah,
Adriano, and I owe it to the previous recipient, Gelly, and I owe it to the Namibian nation for standing behind all of us for appreciating what we do. I really
yeah.
do owe it to everybody of all of us.
Absolutely. So let's talk about and rewind before, a little young Armas in the early 90s, because you started way back, and I'm talking about before independence, and then moving into independence. You've had this passion of being a performer, and I mean, rightfully so, you went to go study for it. What was it like being, firstly, someone with all this energy of being an actor, but being a Vambo, being a black child, where everyone is forced to go either into the police or become a doctor or a nurse or, normal job, but you wanted to be an actor. What was that like in the early 90s?
Well, first of all, Adriano, when I started, for example, uh,
Mm,
it have never came across my mind that this is what I wanted to be.
yeah,
It just happened because of a certain teacher at my primary school in the late 80s who saw potential in me, and then
mm,
she decided to dramatize a certain book that we used to read at school, and
yeah,
then made me one of the leading characters in that play. But if you have to look very back uh, at us as black children, these are type of things that we used to do by default. Sometimes
Yeah.
you do it without realizing that you are acting. So we used to do this kind of plays, the hide and seek, for example, and then you give each other characters and say, in this particular sort of play that we are doing, without realizing it's a play, you decide,
Yeah.
no, I'm a policeman, I'm the thief,
Yeah.
I'm this guy, and so on. You give each other characters. But little did we knew that
Yeah.
this is actually acting. So
Yeah.
what I'm trying to say, to tell you and to tell somebody that is listening right now, is that acting is in all of us.
Mm.
As much as
Absolutely.
some of us, we happen to realize that it became a career, it is naturally in all of us.
Absolutely. So as much as you played, you know, Heisiki and hide and seek and all these amazing things that you all did, what was that thing that stood out for you that said, you know what, this is it? Because you mentioned this book that your teacher exposed to you. What was it called, if I may ask?
It's a while back, man. It was in
Yeah.
1888 or 89, if I can still recall. And
Yeah.
one thing that I can still remember, the only thing that I can still remember is that if I go to the village,
Yeah.
my mates that we went to school together with, they
Yeah.
still call me by the character name that I played then.
Yeah.
That tells me the significance of the play, and it tells me the significance of the role that I play, and it
Right.
tells me how far it goes back in terms of me realizing the dream of becoming an actor.
And
So
yeah.
the title of the play, ooh, now you're asking me.
Yeah.
Now
Okay,
you're
but
asking me.
what do they call you when you go back to the north?
Hailume.
Hailume. Is
Hailume.
there a name?
Hailume,
What does it mean?
a direct translation is actually the man.
The man.
The man.
Almost like Awed Mejita.
You know, it's more like that. You know, it does
Okay.
not have
Yeah.
a real meaning as to say what it means, but it's more like if there's somebody that is listening of an or Shivambo speaking person, it's more of
Yeah.
when I say a pulangunga is a person that it's more of a debt collector.
Oh, okay.
You know, yeah. In
Yeah.
Oshuambo, when you send a pulangunga who is a debt collector, it should be very selective in a sense that you are sending somebody whom the people that owes you, when they see this person,
Yeah.
without this person saying a single word, they should start paying up.
They should just start. So it's almost like this little debt collector from. I remember in the book of the Bible, there was this debt collector that used to collect. You know, going to the town and he just starts collecting people's debt, and that's how. Okay, precisely.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. So Armas in then 1990. You need to get me the years correctly because I'm someone that pays a lot of respect to the years and also to the time frame because I love history. When you moved to Windhoek, in which year was it exactly?
I moved back to Windhoek in around about 1995, 1996, somewhere
Yeah.
there. That's where
Yeah.
I moved back to Windhoek because just for listenership sake, I was born in
Yeah.
Windhoek. But then my father
Mm,
took me to the north when I was around about 2, 3 years old. And I
right.
haven't known my mother for much long. And then
Mm,
my father and my grandmother raised me up in the north. And then
yeah.
after high school, of which I finished in 1994, so
Hmm.
1995, around about there, that's when I came back to Windhoek.
Wow. So that's when you also started the Brick Community Theater and you collaborated with a lot of actors from Windhoek. Armas? Okay, seems like we're experiencing a bit of a delay there. Okay.
Network issues, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. I was just saying the same now that we're experiencing a bit of a delay there. So 1996, you started, that is the Brick Community Theatre.
Yes, what happened is that when I came back to Windhoek in 1995, 1996, my mother was a single mother. And what happens is that my mother used to sell goods at Katsura Hospital before it became what it is today. And then while I was assisting my mother with the sales there, a lady from NBC called Tulumeo Kapanda found me there, and then she was like, "You, as young as you are, what are you doing here? You are supposed to be either in school, at the university, or whatever the case is. What are you doing here?" And then I told her my story, and then she said, "What do you want to become in life?" So my whole life long growing up, I always wanted to be on TV, right? And then when I explained to her what I wanted to do, she then suggested to take me to NBC. And then at NBC, I was introduced to the likes of Boli Moteng, and then I was introduced to the BRICS Community Theater project. That's how I started getting closer to my life desire.
Yeah. So joining all of this, in the back of your mind, you're still like, you know what, I need to be an actor. I need to fast forward, you know, I need to, you know, get onto that stage, because you've done numerous theater work and you've done film work as well. Which is your first love when it comes to film and theater? I know you and I spoke about this.
Say, you know, we spoke about this while as much as he said there's not much difference, I still feel there is a difference, and I still feel theater is my first love. You understand? Because when a theater play allows you this space and allows you these expressions and allows you all these kind of things, while with television you are this focused.
Right.
You understand? So at the moment, I am doing a lot of film productions, of which I am loving to the core. But if you take me back to what I would appreciate more, I will play for you a Rod Stewart song that says, "The first cut is the deepest, and my first cut is theater."
Oh, wow. I like that. I applaud you for that. But, you know, I think the onward debate about, you know, film and theater, I share with you the same sentiments. It's personally for me also the theater space. One of the best theater spaces that we also have in Namibia is the National Theater, because, I mean, this is where, you know, that has been the foundation of all of our acting and all of our work. And rightfully so, you've done a lot of work with Vixen Hangula. What role has he played in your acting and your, you know, theater and film work as well?
Well, you know, Adriano, back in the years, the only names that were in your ears all the time is either Vixen Angola, is either David Javera, is David Nanub, is Naftali of the Community Theatre Group, is Boli Moteng, is you know, the list goes on. The Stanleys and the, you know, so when you knew that there was something that you are going to do with Vixen Angola, the first thing that comes to mind is legendary. And then growing up and really developing myself and my skill into the theater, I watched Vixen Angola's play called "The Show Isn't Over Until," you know, and the cast were the Stanley Van Wyk, the Aderica Di Hore, amazing, the David Javeras, amazing cast, amazing actors, you know. And if there is something that I have learned from Vixen and the late Njavera, may his soul rest in peace, is the fact that in our industry, there's no acting, there is doing. Because the moment you tell people that you are acting, you are being unreal. Do you understand?
It's about
the moment
doing
you
the
tell
work.
somebody that I am acting, you are being unreal. We are doing. We are doers of things. You understand?
Absolutely.
I'll give you a very good example. If I am an MD of X company and I go on a sick leave, Adriano will become an acting MD. That means Adriano is not the MD, he's just representing me. He's acting in my behalf. On my behalf, right? But in our case, I hate it when people say, oh no, meaning when you are acting, you are pretending. We do not pretend, we do.
We do.
We do.
Exactly.
Yes.
I like that. I'm going to actually quote that because that I think that is fundamental, because it's also fundamental in allowing people to start taking our craft seriously, in realizing that, you know, when you say Armas the actor, you're not saying, oh, he's pretending to be someone. And maybe that's going to be one of the questions I'm going to ask now, because for the very longest time, and you know, I need to ask you, what was it like to be part of the cast of One Fine Day, because you featured on it as well. You were part of it as well.
Yo.
It must have been a roller coaster production.
That was a roller coaster production. That was the defining moments. That was the creme de la creme. The reason being, I challenged myself, and I was challenged by the cause, because during that production, we had the big names. You know, the Stanley Van Beeks, the Jackson Kauyewas, the Boutique Kavanjes, and so forth. Now, being as young as I was, being an upcoming actor as I was, I had to challenge myself to bring myself to the level where these folks are, because not only did I want these Armas to be recognized, I also wanted these Armas to bring the level the other guys were bringing. And that is why today people that have seen One Fun Day, when they see me in the streets, they still recognize me from that moment because of the status of the production and the status of the performance and the little that I brought. It contributed, and I appreciate that from the bottom of my heart.
Wow. So I hate fast forwarding this, but because of time, fast forward, you know, you've been this comedic character, and you know, when I see you at times, I just want to laugh, you know, because you know, I watched you on my screen growing up, you know, in One Fine Day with the Stanleys. Here you are, you're playing such a serious role in #Land of the Brave. And you've worked with an amazing director, Tim Hochschler, who I applaud for the amazing work he does. You know, and you worked with, you know, the amazing cast as well. You know, I think when I look at the cast of #Land of the Brave, it's veteran actors that have been in the industry. What was that defining moment like? Because here you are, a comedic character that now needs to be a serious character. And I mean, when you talk about Namibian police officers, hey, as he maklekni, you know, how do you how do you change into being that character?
You know, Adriano, first of all, one thing that I have never allowed myself to be is being tight-casted. We call it tight-casted in our industry, when the one actor is only able to do specific roles or specific characters. I have never allowed myself to be just this comedic person. I broaden myself up, and I have given myself space to accommodate other things as well, such as you said, the character Shivute in hashtag Land of the
Land
Brave.
of the
So
Yeah.
there was another series called The Ties That Bind.
Yeah.
It was done. It was also one of the NBC productions by Abias Akwake. I played a character of an abusive husband, and I did that character so well that when I go to the shopping malls, women will look at me with hatred eyes, thinking I am that person. Do you understand? So, but let's fast forward and go back to your question. In hashtag Land of the Brave film is that I was very fortunate to have an amazing director, to have an amazing production company, to have an amazing cast and crew members. And we also were very lucky that the production company brought in a veteran South African actor, no, she's not the late one. I'm referring to, pardon me, a veteran South African actor from Egoli, who taught us a lot. And she taught us so much that I also realized that we thought we know it all, but we know nothing. And with that experience from that teaching, I went into the hashtag Land of the Brave production with a very learned ear. I saw and heard things differently from how I heard things. And also just to get back to take you back a little bit, when Tim Hoopsler was busy writing this story, we met in Lodretz by default. And when we met, he was busy writing the story. We met in a coffee shop. And when we met, he said to me, "Speak of a devil. Look, come and see what I'm doing here. I'm busy writing a story. And in my story, there's a character called Shivute. And you are actually the person I have got in my mind to do that part. Are you willing to take it up?" And I said to him, "Well, we can start shooting tomorrow."
Without reading the script, you are ready.
When he explained, when he explained the story to me and he explained the character to me, I saw myself doing it. There was no other way that this character was going to be played by somebody else but myself.
Exactly. You know, I think that is so profound, and especially when, you know, I read a book by Michael Caine that he said, and you said something so beautifully now, that some roles are already existent there for you. Sometimes, you know, the roles have already been said to say, you know what, you're stepping into the right character, you're stepping into ShopRite and someone recognizes you, and you might not know that be, you know, your cast, that may be the space where you're being recognized as an actor. How do we change the narrative to recognizing the importance of art in Namibia when it's still not being recognized the way we want it to? And please don't get me wrong when I say that. It's because many a times we are closely linked to our characters and the characters we've played. So I might see you now not realizing that that is actually Armas Shivute and not Officer Shivute. But we don't recognize the importance of the arts in the community.
You know, Adriano, let me start by saying, when you go on the street and the people recognize you from your character, from a character of that you have played in a movie or in a theater production, that only shows that you have done it very well. You know, if you are given a character in a play or in a film and the people are not able to recognize you when they meet you, go and think about your work again. So let us not go hard on the people that we meet on the street and love us or hate us for the characters we played. That only shows that we have done justice to the characters we play. Because being or playing a character is about you becoming the person that is referred in the character, you being in the shoes of the character. Forget about the Armas Shivute that have left a wife and 7 children at home.
Yeah.
People don't want to see that. People want to see the story. People want to see the character that you are representing. So the next day when people sees you as that character, you should smile and tap yourself and say, well done to myself.
Well done to myself. Yeah.
Yes.
Armas, so as much as we talk about arts now, and rightfully so, you know, characterization, and many a times, you know, you find yourself, you know, I found myself in a position about 2 weeks ago where someone said, you know, where is it that we know, fast forward, we would realize that Namibian actors are now also being recognized as millionaires, or there's, for example, a red star that you can place Namibian artists on, because rightfully we are doing amazing work. We are doing internationally recognized work, especially with the films that we've partook in. Here you are having won, you know, Best Actor Southern Africa at the SOTIGUI Awards, being the 3rd recipient, and also being part of a production like #Land of the Brave that is taught internationally. How do we change the narrative that, you know, art becomes a form of job that is being taken seriously in our country?
Yeah. Look, first of all, I wish to, I do not want to point fingers in terms of where it's going wrong. But I would rather give a narrative of how I see things myself. The first thing that I see is that our population have got a big role to play. Us being 2 million, if you today, in coming up with a production such as #Land of the Brave, for example, requires you to put in a lot of resources. And the resources that I'm referring to is money. Now, let's say you spend 2.5 million to film #Land of the Brave, and then you have to release it by printing DVDs for people to buy.
Yeah.
How much are you going to sell that DVD to the Namibians to be able to make the money? That is number one. Number two, as much as we have got a government that is supporting the Film Commission of Namibia to assist the film industry, the government is not giving enough to the film industry. If the government gives, for example, 2 million to the Film Commission, 2 million is one feature film.
Yeah.
Do you understand? 2 million is one feature film. That's why our producers and storytellers, they opt to go to international festivals in the hope of selling the film outside before it comes to Namibia. Now, we have a national broadcaster, which is the NBC.
Right.
Do you think the NBC will pay 500,000 for #Land of the Brave for them to screen it? They will not, because they don't have that budget themselves. You know, and that is where the film industry in Namibia is going south. That's where everything is going wrong. That's where. That's why you have got the likes of yourself, the likes of myself, the late Stanley and the David Javeras. They went to their graves without driving an ML. That's where we are forced to do arts because we love doing it, not because of the commercial part of it.
Right. And you know,
so
I recognize, you know, where you're saying where the loopholes are, and I think relatively so we've seen it over the past years and where we've gone wrong. How can we fix this? How can we, you know, I always say, you know, if and maybe it's wrong for me to make this analysis, you know, when you say if Mboma and Maselingi could, from a 2.5 million country, could be on an international stage and be recognized, and rightfully
Of
so,
course.
being granted what they've been granted, where does the arts fit in? And, I'm not taking away from them, but, how is it that we equate that to say, you know what, let's start investing in the arts in Namibia, because we need to recognize how creatives has also kept Namibian people afloat for the past 2 years during a pandemic.
I tell you, the recognition, like you said, the respect, the appreciation, those three things. Number one, if we have an industry that is recognized, if we have an industry that is respected, if we have an industry that is appreciated, we'll be on the same boat. But at the moment, none of the three are existent, right? You will have a very beautiful piece to take to the National Theatre, yeah? But how many audience will you have that have got tickets that they have purchased from box office, the National Theatre box office? The theater will be filled with people, your friends that you have given complimentary tickets. But if a South African production comes here, it will be full to capacity.
It's sold out before the time.
Because, do you understand what I'm saying? So that is where, but I'm sorry if I'm stepping outside the line a little bit. Let me tell you one thing. The reason why art is not recognized also is because, number one, it is not recognized as a contributing factor to the GDP. Okay. Now, I'll make one quick example. If I, Armas, get into a production where I am paid very well, I am able to hire a nanny. When I pay my nanny very well, my nanny will be able to buy bread from a certain grocery shop. That bread is taxed. Where does the tax go? To the government. What does this mean to the national economy? It contributes. But the fact that I can also not employ somebody else. I can also not buy as much bread as I want. You understand? So it's all these kind of things that we need to look at.
Like, Armas, I see where we're heading to, and I feel so many times, especially when I speak to artists and on the hashtag, Live with Adriano platform, that we share the same sentiments and we share where we could definitely be going right. And maybe, I spoke to Tanya Turipamwe Stroh, who once also mentioned that perhaps it really relies in the contribution that we need to do as artists when it comes to the GDP. And personally, for myself, I've attended 3 to 4, artist workshops where we've asked ourselves, you know what, if Armas had to sell his form of art, whether it's painting, how does that painting contribute to the GDP at the end of the day in order for that specific art to be recognized? Similar to, economics, when we speak of, in Evelyn Street, how much does each and every person should be in Evelyn Street contribute to the GDP of the country? That just being the economics and the money factor. But for some reason, art and the artistry, and especially film, has also been that replication where this year we've seen for the very first time that a film like The White Line has, been shortlisted for the Oscars. And that for me is big. That should be the realization that you and your child and the next generation would want to say, I want to step into the feet of the Armas and the late David and the Girly Yadamas. And, so how do we change just the narrative at the current status quo. Because look at you, you've got an 8 to 5, you work at Radio Cosmos, and you're an actor. So how do we just change that narrative? I have you thinking there, right?
I should really say yeah, I should really say it's very difficult to change that narrative, Adriano, because we will have to go back to the drawing board. And when I say we start teaching arts in schools and make it a choice for a young Namibian child that I can do art and make it a career. And by making it a career is by, for example, saying the furniture, because the furniture is also made by an artist, by saying the furniture that the president is sitting on in our state house is made by a Namibian. You know, the portrait that that portrays the president in every government office is made by a Namibian. The literature book that our kids are reading in our schools is made by a Namibian. The study materials. I once did a project with Desert Research Foundation, where we used to go to school, to College of Educations, to teach student teachers the methods that they can use in their teaching for them to be able to make the learners understand. If we can make use of these artists, the Armas, the Adrianos, and the Franz Unonas that draws beautiful pictures in this country, then we are starting to change the narrative. But the moment we started downgrading our own people and their work, and rather respect a work of an American, a British artist, then we are doomed.
Armas, because of time, what can we expect next from you? What projects are lined up? What's the message for the youth out there from your end?
I get this question quite a lot. And
because we still need to work together on a production. I'm just saying.
Well, you are one person that I really want to work with. You are one person.
Let's do it.
You remember your movie with Felipe Travera?
Yeah.
What is the title?
Is it Salute or Kapana?
Salute.
Yeah.
I have watched that movie, but I watched it with a concentration to the character that you played. And I have not seen many that would do it the way you did it. And for that reason, I am always telling myself, I want to have a production with this guy. I want to be in the same production with this guy. There are moments when you are in the same production with somebody, but you are not, you are not exchanging anything. I want a direct exchange between the two of us, between the two characters, of which one is you and one is the one I'm playing. That's what I want, number one. And number two, to get back to your question, for me as an actor, it's always very difficult to tell who's next, because I depend on producers and I depend on directors. So the least I can do is to avail myself and say I'm available, and I think I still have got some very good blood in me, and yes, I'm open to working. I'm open to working. As for because I'm a theater writer, I'm busy on a project that I'm working on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I cannot say much about it now, but by God's grace, when it comes to light, the public will be the first to know.
Yeah. Armas, I thank you so much for availing your time on a Sunday, for having been to work, for plowing back into our country, for being that person that I personally, as Adriano, could just knock on your door and say, "Hey, Uncle Armas, let's do this." You know, I just want to really thank you, and I wish you all the best with your projects, with your endeavors, with I admire the fact that it might sound wrong to say this, but Uncle Armas werkt bij Cosmos Radio. Because when you told me about it, we laughed and we could really laugh about it. But it's big, it's major, and there's so much admiration and just wishing you all the best.
No, thank you very much, Adriano. Thank you very much. I also just want to share with whoever is watching or listening, and that whoever is going to watch after the live show, that Adriano, I appreciate you. I appreciate everything that you have done for me, especially in the space when I was preparing to go to Burkina Faso. I did not know anything about Burkina Faso. You were in Burkina Faso before. You were hosting the show. And then when we got to Burkina Faso, you were always my support system. You got me very emotional in Burkina Faso. So I thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I hope this camaraderie, this brotherhood continues for the better of our industry.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Aka Armas. Definitely. Okay. Great evening to you.
Thank you very much, man.
Thank you.
Salute.
Bye. Salute.